is nothing like a day, nothing in the world.
For anyone who was into musical theater, it's a safe bet that there was one album in their house that was really influential. For me, in the late 50s, it was South Pacific. And for me, I just listened to that thing up and down, back and forth. It was the cast album that made that show live for me.
That is anything like a day.
On Sunday at the annual Grammy Awards show, the nominees for Best Musical Album include both revivals and original albums. What's interesting is to think about how the revivals stack up against the classic recordings.
I'm as corny as Kansas in August. I'm as normal as blueberry pie.
This version of South Pacific has Kelly O'Hara in it, and she struck me as having the most Mary Martin-like voice. And I think she's got a beautiful voice. I think she sings this role really well.
Get a load of honey bun tonight.
So I think this is just a really, really well-sung version of South Pacific, and actually, I might prefer it even to the original.
Some people can get a thrill, knitting sweaters and sitting still.
Gypsy also has a really incredible performance in it, Patti LuPone. And so on stage, she was terrific, and I think the cast album conveys almost all of that.
You'll be great, gonna have the whole world on a plate.
I'm very happy with this recording of Gypsy, and because Patrick Vacchiarello, our conductor, and Steve Sondheim, the lyricist, I believe insisted that it was a live performance, and so all of the energy that we have on stage is in the recording. I'm very proud of the recording.
Coming up roses for me and for you.
Besides revivals, of course, there's a kind of hybrid of stage musicals based on hit movies. The two this year are Little Mermaid and Young Frankenstein.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't wish to embarrass you, but I am a rather brilliant surgeon. Perhaps I can help you with that hump. What hump?
Young Frankenstein was a show, of course, that did not get very well treated by the critics. I wasn't that crazy about it. It just didn't have what the producers had. The cast album is actually pretty good, better than I thought it would be.
He was a bully and a brute. He was as crazy as a coot. Still I didn't give a hoot. He was my boyfriend.
You know, Mel Brooks is not a really sophisticated musical composer, but he does kind of a good old-fashioned sort of 1930s style song pretty well.
Boyfriend.
One of the only completely original cast albums of the nominees is the debut musical In the Heights, conceived by and also starring Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Me and my cousin running, just another dime a dozen, mom and pop stopping, shopping. Oh my God, it's gotten too darn hot. Like my man Cole Porter said, people come through for a few cold waters.
I think rap music is interesting because the best Broadway musicals have numbers that actually tell the story, help tell the story, and that's exactly what rap music does. And so that, you know, worked very well in the Heights.
$1, $2, $1.50, $1.69, I got it.
One of the things we always said was this has got to sound like 10 blocks in Washington Heights. If you're walking from 173rd to 183rd, you hear boleros, you hear hip hop, you hear bachata coming out of every corner, and it's got to sound like a mix of all those things. And the cast album, accordingly, has to sound as good as any hip hop song on the radio, while still fulfilling the storytelling demands of musical theater.
It's a beautiful show. The music is really beautiful. You know, the record is just, you know, really rich and lush. The music is really pretty.
When you're home, oh, the summer nights are cooler when you're home. Now that you're here with me.
I think you have to say that In the Heights, it was the Tony winner. Probably should be considered the favorite. I'm actually not sure, you know, who those Grammy voters exactly are, so I can't scope them out quite as well as I can the Tonys.
There is nothing like a day.
If they're more traditionalists, they might really like the South Pacific album. And I think South Pacific got a lot of credit for bringing back a show that had not been revived in decades and decades, and doing such a nice job of it, at least vocally. You know, that certainly is deserving of the award too.